So you talked about the gods. Are they black?
Of course. Just recently, well, I don't know, because some people still think the Egyptians might have been white, but of course they were black people living in Africa in the Sahara region. Of course they were black. But the gods were the blackest of black people. If you look up pictures of Osiris, if you Google Osiris, or statues of Ptah, different gods that created everything, they're as black as they can be. You know what I mean? So they had a great sense of who they were. And the name Kemet, the name Kim means black or burnt. Dig what I'm saying? In the name of the country itself, it means land of the burnt people or blackened people. The Ethiopians from that area, Ethiopic means burnt, blackened. So they had no trouble identifying who they were. It's just that people over here have a hard time of accepting it or finding that information. They were definitely black though.
Since all of the gods are black, what gods are you the most knowledgeable about?
Okay. I do want to throw this in there just to give some understanding. So, even though I'm saying we're not polytheistic, or Egyptians were not polytheistic, they had a certain understanding. So, I'm gonna put it to you like this. Before I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm gonna put it to you like this. All of your cells in your body, right, are living. We would all agree on that. They have a life. But you don't say it's millions of cells in your body. The millions of cells make up the one entity, which is you. From your eyes to your liver to your feet, everything has cells in it, but they all come together to have one reality. But in science, you break it down to understand the one reality. So just like, that's what they kind of did. So just because you have different Ra, Amun, Asar, Set, Anubis, you know what I'm saying, Nefertet, just because you had these different gods, that doesn't mean that they worshipped many gods. It was just, those were the explanations of the one. Like in Islam, they say Allah is the all in all. Look at it like that. That's the explanation of the all. We're not just putting it together where they're specifically talking about these different faculties of God, whether it be masculine, whether it be feminine. So the most important god in Egypt is Ra, the sun god, the sun. They say all things come from Ra. When you're talking about Ra, or the sun god, or the first of anything, his underlying principle is that his birth signifies the birth of creation and all everything. He was the first to emerge out of the primordial waters, which basically is like the beginning of creation, what I guess you could think of as like the Big Bang or something like that. But he came from his mother. His mother is above time and above space, above all existence, new. She's above time and space. But when Ra comes into the picture, that signifies the creation of everything, the oneness of time and space. From Ra came all other things: Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nefertet. We gave it a being, a creation, a character, but the reality of it is, yes, they worship the sun. Why? The sun brings forth life, gives you life. It exposes and elevates your melanin. So even though they gave it a character, it's still a realistic principle that we can live by. So just because they say one thing, it's a sun god, that don't mean they literally worship the sun and gave offerings to it. No, they just had a supreme understanding of it, and they used it to teach other people.
So what is a 5%er?
5% is a person, 5% nation of gods on earth. It's a break off of, I guess, officially you could say a break off of like the Nation of Islam, but it's different than that. But that's what I do. I'm 5%. I'm righteous. We just say, you're a righteous person, meaning you have the knowledge of yourself and you're aiming to walk righteously or whatever. And basically, what the 5% nation is they consider themselves the poor righteous teachers of the human family, teaching the knowledge and wisdom to everyone. And the message that they got is basically the black man is God. That's their whole thing. The black man is God. Allah is arm, leg, arm, head. And they got this from Clarence 13X, who was in the Nation of Islam, but he left. He left because when you get let's say when you first used to get into the Nation of Islam, you go through the FOI, which is the Fruit of Islam, the military training, the security, the dudes with the bow tie standing up. That's who that FOI is. And to be a part of that, you got to learn 120 questions plus actual facts and solar facts. And those 120 questions will give you the basis on what their school of thought is. So they'll have like the number one question. The first question is, who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, owner, the maker, creator of the planet, father of civilization, God of the universe. You got to know all of those questions to get into it. So what Clarence 13X did is that Elijah Muhammad would say that Farad Muhammad, who taught him, was God in person. So the way he thought was, well, if he's God in person, why am I, the black man, not God in person as well? So what he did was he left and he went into the streets of Harlem in New York, in Brooklyn, and he went to those kids, the babies, the teenagers who weren't disciplined enough to maybe, let's say, go into a temple and convert to Islam and go pray every day. But he still felt like these people needed to have that knowledge itself. So the dudes that was on the corner, the dudes that was in jail, the dudes that was doing, you know, maybe some mischief, they still needed to get this information to maybe live a certain way. So he started teaching them supreme mathematics and the supreme alphabet, along with the 120 lessons. And that's a kind of just a realistic approach to life. So basically, we have a system of numbers, 1 through 9 plus the number 0. And each number has a meaning. So we can say the number 1 is knowledge, or the man, or the son. We can say 2 is wisdom, or the water, or the woman. We can say 3 is understanding. Understanding is the child. Understanding is the star. 4 is culture and freedom. 5, power and refinement. 6, equality. 7, God. As in like God created the world and the earth and all that in 7 days. It's a holy number. 8, meaning build or destroy. Build upon fact, destroy fiction. 9, born or existence. Like it takes 9 months for a woman to have a child. Born or existence. The number 0 represents a cipher, a circle, composed of 360 degrees. 120 knowledge, 120 wisdom, 120 understanding. Cipher, a circle. You can see that they use that in hip hop. Because the gods, what they used to, when I say the gods, I mean the people who recognize themselves as the 5% nation. We call ourselves gods, call the woman earth. The gods, what they used to do, they used to have a cipher, a circle, and they used to be in a circle, building and destroying knowledge, bringing facts, building on the lessons, what's the math for the day, this, that, and that, and the third. So in hip-hop, they took that and made it a rap cipher. So even in popular, in our popular culture, we you know, that's where we get it from. You use it on an everyday basis to add up things correctly. You got to use the math to add up things in a correct way to get a correct meaning. 2 plus 2 is not 5. 2 plus 2 is 4. It's always going to be that. So we use those small meanings to explain life. So let me give you a basic understanding. Let's say today was the 12th. 1 and 2. We add 1 plus 2 and get the sum of that. It's 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 is knowledge, 2 is wisdom. Knowledge plus wisdom gives you understanding. See what I'm saying?
So it's like a literal math equation, but with words.
With words. Literal math equation, but with words. So let's say this. And doesn't say how that's right and exact. You have to add knowledge. Knowledge plus knowledge is wisdom. You can't have wisdom without having knowledge. So you have to add knowledge onto knowledge to get wisdom. You have to add 1 onto 1 to get 2.
Alright, so what's 3 plus 4?
Understanding plus culture, all being born to God. Understanding your culture of yourself is God, it's peace.
2 plus 9.
Wisdom, born. Born wisdom, born knowledge, all being born to wisdom. If you can add, you can do this. But what it is, have an understanding of these meanings of these words. So you can, let's say for instance, let's say you do 1 plus 2 is 3. Knowledge plus wisdom is understanding. Well, knowledge is also, 1 is also the man, 2 is the woman. Man plus woman equals 3, the child. It still goes hand in hand.
So it's multiple meanings.
It has multiple meanings, but just upon the context in which we're using it, once you understand the alphabet and the lessons, you'll be able to decipher what you want to get out of it. So let's say today's math. Today's math means what's the number correlation with today. Today is the 6th. Today's math is equality. So however you see equality, however you see it based upon actual facts is what the math is for today. Balance is needed in everything. Where there's up, there's down, there's left, there's right, east, west, north, south, light, dark, day, night. Balance is an all natural thing. You need balance, and maybe that can dispel certain ideologies out here.
I have a question about the cipher.
Go ahead.
So you said that they used to come together,
Yeah.
build
knowledge,
and destroy
fiction. Destroy
So
falsehood.
how did they know that what they were saying were facts?
By showing and proving. Everything in the nation, you must show and prove. So let's say this. I come to the cipher and I say, who is the original man? The original man is an Asiatic black man owning the maker, cream of the planet, father of civilization, God of the universe. How can I show and prove that? Well, being the original man, the black man is the only set of humans who have no birth date. We can find the oldest Asian and Chinese skeletons, the oldest Native American. But each year, they just found some 300-year-old Homo